This afternoon, I would like to welcome people to the afternoon session of the Completely Online Reference Seminar. Oriana Acevedo is going to talk with us about the really important area of multilingual health information services and provide some great resources. If you're tweeting about this, please use the hashtag RISG2020. I'll just put that into chat so that it's there for people. And I will now hand over to Oriana. Thank you very much, Oriana.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just preparing to share my screen.
Oriana, do you have PowerPoint open?
Okay. So I need to have the PowerPoint open. And there we go. Yep, resume share. Can you see something or not?
Yes, it looks great. Yes, very clear.
Okay, we back then, back in business. Hello, everyone. Good to see so many people that have been working for so many years. There was my friend Surinda and Midada and some of the names that I remember and I come across for many times. The first thing that you see on the screen, the health information in your language, was an electronic poster that we created some time ago to promote material on health that we have at the State Library. Now, in terms of resources, before I'm actually going to do that, so I don't forget this, the State Library has collections, as you probably know, in 43 languages. In every one of those languages, we have health information. Very generic, because it's published overseas, and is for the individuals. It's not for research, not for academic purpose, so the explanation tend to be quite clear. One of the things that we're going to start talking about, and the most important bit, is the reference interview. So we got a person that he wanders into the library, and I called it the wandering client, because not everybody is going to approach the information desk. Sometimes, as we know, the desk is a bit of a barrier. People are not really confident. They just float around the library until they found. I think the really fabulous services are also coming from having the Roman librarians who just go around and find the client and ask how they can serve. At that point in time, or whatever your first conversation with the client is, I think the most important thing is your body language. I'm here to listen. I'm here probably to guess what would you like to find, and having the right questions and that sensitivity, and show empathy, and feel that you are with the person, but not superior to the client. It's just establishing that rapport is so fundamental. The thing is that we're all aware that sometimes we're looking for information but not necessarily know what to ask for. And particularly in the case that we're going to talk about today, is not knowing that the information exists. If you are not in the library world, if you are not really ever being sick or being in a health situation where you need to look for help, then you don't know, because you don't have to worry about it. So if we pass that interview where the client is able, you are able really to establish a rapport and ask the right question and engage the person in a conversation. And I know some of you might say, but but I have a queue. And that is something that we have to live with. But passing the conversation, the initial conversation that is fundamental to see what sort of information we're going to look for, this presentation is not so much about helping you to find that information because you've been in this field for a long time. It's about having the awareness and right at the back of your mind every time that a client crosses front door, because we don't know what do they need or what they will ask for. So it's just awareness. It's thinking about diversity and multilingualism when somebody comes to see us. So this poster is still available, and in the past we have used the Health Week to promote and remind the library that we have information at the State Library, that it will come to you in the form of books across many subjects. And in the past, we have developed our collection that are not that big in relation with our partner. So let's talk about this. This one on the screen. Anyway, this is the New South Wales Multicultural Communication Service. It is for New South Wales the fundamental point where the resources are developed across the board. You're going to get this PowerPoint later, so you will have this address, and then you can explore. Normally, when people have visited the site, this site, or even across the country, like in Victoria, they will say, but this information hasn't been reviewed for a number of years. No, actually, the information is reviewed. And every 2 or 3 years, and if it's correct, it will stay in the website. Now, preparing these translations, which the focus of the language is simplicity, and transform those medical terms in something that anyone can understand, because the material that you're going to see is actually for the lay person, not for the nurses, but for anyone looking for information. The beauty of the website that we are going to visit, and pretty much across the board, are that the multilingual information are right in the front page. So what we have here is these quick links will appear at the front page of the New South Wales Multicultural Health Communication. And you can see it says multilingual resources right there. You don't have to go 3 or 4 clicks or more to find the information that you need. Now, what does that mean when I get into this screen? And we know that any website that you visit, the information will be displayed in different ways. So in this case, before I use the search button, I can see there are 563 topics, information at different things, 563. Then if I go across, I will see languages. But now I have type asthma, because asthma is a very common issue, sadly, in Australia, as an allergy, dust, so many triggers. So after I type asthma or whatever I'm searching for, when I go to language and display all, I see not 200 languages or 100 languages. I see a limited number of languages. What that means is that the resource that I'm going to find in asthma is only available in some of those languages: the Arabic, Bengali, Greek, Italian, Vietnamese. Now, the important issue to understand is where this decision comes from. Why the Multicultural Health Communication Services has translated only in these languages. The reason is, I think it's a limited funding mostly, that the medicine in many cases in terms of multilingualism and diversity and the communities is that it can be preventative because it's, I would say, a very difficult task. So what happens is when a case presents, say there's asthma, there's an allergy reaction, over and over again, through the health system at different points everywhere, and start increasing, then the measurement behind that it work in the health department identifying what are the biggest issues start coming a link to language. So somehow there will be children with asthma and people with an Arabic language has been showing more frequently at the hospital, Bengali, the Chinese, simplifying traditional means Cantonese and Mandarin, Greek, Italian. So they are coming on top, and that's the reason why they have focused on translating this information, and this translation for the individual to help themselves is for the parents. So we're going to go to the next one, a common one, diabetes. This is Diabetes Australia, it's Diabetes New South Wales actually. And then again, very soon you go to the front page of diabetes and you will see where I put my blue star, translators resources. And immediately you will see the translation coming in. So not difficult to find. And sorry, I'm just going to go back. What you're going to find that most of the health information, you will always get the English translation, or at least a very comprehensive description of what you are going to hand out. So you don't have to worry about that. There's another website, which is Transcultural Mental Health Center, but it's fundamentally multilingual resources. Now, in this website, you're going to find material that are designed, but it will be very clearly marked for the practitioners, the nurses, the psychologists, but also for the individuals. You will see in the next page, for example, this one, let me see if I move that one away. We have a practical guide series, and this is, it's about resting, it's about getting a good night's sleep, it's about stress management, and existing Arabic, Chinese, in several languages. In languages that we don't hear that frequently, Maltese is there. And so these are information. Sometimes you can actually contact the organization and get that material sent to you, printed. They normally do a run and then they put it on the website. And consumer medication brochures. Exploring these are really interesting because it's sad and funny at the same time. But many people who approaches, older age, the management of medicine are complicated. Not only because you forget, but mostly rather than take one tablet, you can take two because it's more effective. Or why not the whole, the whole medicine, 3 or 5? So these are practical information that help the community. I'm going to try to move to the next one. Okay. This organization is a kind of more generic, but it's really, really important. I live in Fairfield, and anyone who probably work at Fairfield City Library, and work at Liverpool, Parramatta, Blacktown, Campbelltown, has among the communities people that came from war zone, I would say Amedeo will be one of those situations. And it's a trauma. It's a trauma for the young people, for the children. And in this organization, normally what it does is the person really needs the support of a specialist, a psychologist, a counselor. They will do that, and they will find the person who speaks the language. But also, they have other important programs where through retraining and conversation and group participation and community gardens, they help people to normalize their life, and then they can go and continue being free individual really of mental sickness or mental issues, or at least if they are not able to resolve the full issues, then at least they will be able to continue a pretty normal life. Now, cancer, at the big C, the bad word. Okay, so again, right at the beginning of the web page, it says get support, and the multilingual cancer information is right there in front of you. So we don't have to go digging to find out what we need to find. And this is how it displays. So we got information in Arabic. We have videos, Macedonian that you don't see frequently, and some other language. And then again, for example, if we see pancreatic cancer coming through or breast cancer in some language but not in other, it's because they've been identified by test, hospital services, medical data, that's where the problems are occurring. And this is how the information will see. So you will see that the information is in English, so you will have access to exactly what you are going to provide. And in things like that, if you come across a client looking for information, of course, is expected the reference librarian, the person who is going to help, to have the capacity to really listen, and to sometimes you do go beyond the call of duty and you say, well, I don't have the information right now, but I look for it. And that is a wonderful thing that librarians have. Now, to keep up with the information, is so much of that. I would suggest that you can perhaps join the health newsletter. Here's an example. This is the refugee health news. When you receive this, because sometimes I send it through the multicultural, or if I think that's something really important, then I send it to everybody. To join this letter, actually you have to email them. And the email is right there in front of you. And then you can say, I want to join this letter. And when it comes through, you can read it. If it's not really relevant, it might be perhaps very focused on seminars that are health practitioners, then it might be not relevant to you. But some of the things, bits and pieces, sometimes they are just inspirational. So this is the Refugee Health Newsletter. And going back to multicultural health, you're also going to find the newsletter, which is the polyglot, poly as in several languages. And then you can, because they've got an archive, you will be able to see the past issues. The New South Wales Health Communication Service not only translate information, but they're always looking for partners to do health program, health information program. Normally, through the multicultural working group, we send that information out. For example, some time ago, there was the Pink Sari association with the multicultural health to raise an awareness among the women coming from India, I would say probably in several languages, an awareness about breast cancer. Then there was another program. It was called, it was about organ donation, and it was called Widows of Parramatta. It was a video where this woman of an Arabic background have a conversation about organ donation. It's interesting enough how they say during the conversation that if they knew before the loved one died, they would have been very keen to share or be participant of the organ donation because they felt that they would have been prolonging the life of somebody who's gone. So they're very sensitive, they pretty much appeal to emotions. Some time ago, they also had, again, breast cancer, and it was a morning tea in Italian. So everybody met. And Griffith was one of the libraries who actually hosted this particular program. Now, that is the end of my presentation because, as we said, it's mostly about being aware that the resources exist and sometimes taking the time to go back to the client and providing that information in language. So,
So does anyone have any questions for Oriana? There will be opportunities to ask later. That was fabulous, Oriana. Thank you very much for that detailed and interesting overview and some great websites that it will be lovely for people to see once you've made your slides available. Please join with me in thanking Oriana.
Yeah. I think they probably didn't have any question because you told them at the beginning to be well behaved because you were watching them.
Now, after Oriana, we've now got 3 short sessions from public library staff. So first up is Michelle Head talking about some information, including the Albury bushfire and the current COVID-19 information is shown across her council website.
Okay, is that all working? Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ellen, for asking me to talk today, and thank you everyone for attending today's sessions. So what Ellen asked me to initially talk about was what the library, Albury City, did during the recent bushfire crisis that we had.
Linda, no.
Oh, can someone please mute their mic? And so what Albury City did was they set up as a main part of their webpage when you first went there was just really easily a place for anyone to look for information on the effects of the bushfires. And that was mainly because we were an emergency relief outpost. So a lot of people actually came to our area who were affected by the bushfires. We fortunately didn't have them here, but we were relatively close, and council supplied a lot of, supplied the evacuation centre, and the libraries themselves. We actually extended our hours for the people who had been evacuated, and we also offered support to the evacuation centre with books and other toys and that for the families that were visiting the evacuation centre to use. And we also did discarded book sale books as well that they could take, so they felt that they had reading material and things like that. So it was a really good, well-used site. And I've put my email address down the bottom there, so if anyone has any questions, it's on the bottom of every slide, so you won't miss it. Feel free to send me an email about what I'm talking about today. And so coronavirus hit, so Albury City used the same formula again to get information to our community quickly and in a format they were already familiar with. So that's just the top page that it goes to, that answers some questions for them and takes people to obviously authoritative sites for their information. And what the libraries have done, or libraries and museum has done, we followed the lead of the State Library, and we created a Your Library and Museum at Home page and moved from there. The other thing that Ellen asked me to talk to everyone about, to highlight to everyone, is a new service that we've had it for a while, but we've just updated to a new online chat facility. I actually went in last night and took these screenshots, and because it was out of our chat facility hours, it didn't show that I was actually online. But down in that bottom right-hand corner, normally that will have a little balloon bubble saying, we're here to help. But when we're not there, it actually will open up into a wonderful little form where people can leave their details and their question, and we can get back to them when we do go online. I'll show you a screenshot of that in a minute. So this chat facility is by a company called Talk2. And so this is their screenshot of their page, and down the bottom, that we are here is what would show up in the bottom of our right-hand screen when we've got staff on and during our normal opening hours. Now, it's free to sign up, believe it or not, and all my IT staff member Sonia did was copied the code and pasted it into our website. The only cost that we've found is if we want to hire someone to manage our chat site when we're not managing it. And as you can see on the page there, it's for as little as $1 an hour. I'm not sure if that's American dollars or Australian dollars. I would be surprised if it was Australian. I think it's American. And what we do is, it's not clicking through for me. Let's see if I can get through to the next one. There we go. And that's the form you fill in if you need help. So I just hopped on to do a test last night. And from the admin side, when you log in as yourself, I'm logged in as me, you can monitor how many people are on your site at any time, and it will tell you basically what they're doing, how they got there, and you can go from there. I did a quick snapshot of me talking to myself, which was really interesting and difficult to do. So this is the screen you as a admin get. You actually get like a doorbell sign to tell you that someone's there on chat and they've put a message through. And then you come to this and you wait for them to type. And I wrote, I'm looking for a book. We get a range of different talks. Initially, when we first closed, it was quite busy, and a lot of the talks were how to use our e-library services, how to get access to Ancestry.com, which we Ancestry have kindly given us access during COVID-19 for off-site for our library members. When is the library reopening, and even some local history queries as well. So it's been a range. We have found it's slowed down a bit, but on the other hand, we've found some of the questions are actually quite a bit more in-depth. And with Talk, you have the ability to do canned responses, so you can actually set up responses for frequently asked questions, and you can actually share those with the member if they ask one of those questions. And finally, it gives you some really great stats. So as you can see, on the 5th of May, we had 2 people. On the 7th, we were busy with 4 chats, none on the 9th, and a couple on the weekend, but we aren't manning it on the weekend at this stage. We're just manning it during normal business hours. And hopefully that just gives you a teaser of what it is like. And I'm happy for anyone to email me at my email address with any further questions, or if you want information, all that, happy to do that. Okay. Are other people using the chat for catalogue help? Some people are, but because we're closed, we actually closed off the ability for people to put reservations on in the short term. So we're not getting too many catalogue questions, and it's quite interesting how many people are quite happy to use all our resources without any help. So yeah, it's been great, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Michelle. That was fabulous to hear about that. I've got a question from Ita. Who monitors the chat?
Who monitors the chat? So at the moment we have a team of about 6 staff members who monitor, and we do it like a roster system. I'm aiming for us to actually also include any staff who are in the library, so having a generic login as well, and getting a lot of our other staff on doing it. We're just also putting with it some training that you don't have to have the answer then and there for the person. You can actually forward on the questions. So it does also have that ability to create a ticket, and you can forward that on to the relevant person, and they can actually send the response back to that person. So it's been quite good.
Thank you, Michelle. That really all sounds great, and it sounds like some people are already following up on it and have forwarded it to colleagues already. So please join with me in thanking Michelle. Next up, we'll have Kelly Woods from Shoalhaven. So over to you, Kelly.
Hi, can you all see me and hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, great. So Ellen's asked me to talk briefly about some email training that I do at Shoalhaven Libraries. And so, yeah, I'll just quickly talk about it. So I normally work at Nowra Library, our central branch, and I'm the information access librarian there. And when I was quite new to my position, my manager sort of spoke to me about what she wanted me to do and some focus that she wanted me to work on. And one of those was trying to increase the stats. Can you all see me still? I just had a funny noise. Is it okay?
We can all hear you.
Great, cool. Sorry, I just made like a funny noise and I went, oh no, I've broken it. Yeah, so we talked about ways to increase stats and to get the staff more comfortable with using the e-resources. So thought about ways that I could do that, and what eventually happened was that I thought of doing some email training where I would focus every month on a different e-resource or a website or a database and put together a set of questions that would kind of be like a treasure hunt. for the staff that would kind of lead them through the resource and get them flicking around and get them clicking and more comfortable. So that was the idea. We came up with the name of Digital Dig, which was made up by one of my colleagues. And yeah, started going from there. And even though I've been promoting the e-resources, I really wanted to find a way that would make the staff more comfortable with using them and also, you know, able to promote them in a casual way with our borrowers. I felt that if my staff were comfortable using them, then they'd be more comfortable chatting about them and showing them to the borrowers when they came in on the circulation desk, just in a more natural way. So that was my real aim. And I also wanted to make it kind of fun and just a little bit light. I didn't want to weigh them down too much with it every month, which is why I headed towards that treasure hunt kind of feel and kept it quite short. So yeah, I started doing one back in December 2018, and the first one I did was Storybox Library. And as I said, I wanted to keep it quick and simple. I didn't want to make it a chore. So I started with 5 questions and a bonus question, which is usually a little bit silly, like a little bit lighter. And first of all, looking for things like, you know, whereabouts on the website are they going to find this resource, how to log in, how to search, how to move around, browse what's available, the features, that kind of stuff, obvious stuff. But I also wanted to ask them things like, what kind of borrower demographic do you think would be interested in Storybox? What are the benefits of using this resource? How could this resource be used by our borrowers? Easing them towards sort of identifying a target market or audience, and then thinking about how the audience might benefit from using the resource. So like, what's in it for them? Just like good old marketing sort of thinking, like, you know, yeah, we've got Storybox Library, so what? You know, what's in it for the borrower? Why would they want to use it? So as well as moving around the resource, I'm getting them to think about how it works, why someone would want to use it. And this was kind of what I hoped would get the staff excited about the resources and then push them towards opening up that conversation with borrowers in a natural kind of way. So yeah, that's kind of what I aimed for. And what I'll do in a second, I'll show you, if you want to have a look, I can show you how I do it. I just use Canva, and I asked a clever colleague of mine to make a logo, which she kindly did for me. And then I just use a little template in Canva, add some graphics and some colour to make it a bit kind of appealing, a bit pretty, a bit of fun. And then, yeah, I can also store all of the older versions as well in there, which is great. So it kind of backs them up for me. And yeah, so I'll choose my questions, put it together, make it pretty, send it out at the beginning of each month. And the staff have all month to get back to me with their answers. And I do keep a spreadsheet with responses because occasionally my manager will ask me, you know, who hasn't been doing the dig, just checking in to see, yeah, who's been on the naughty list. No one likes to be on that naughty list. So generally people send them back to me. And we've also done them on Find Legal Answers, on drug info, on our library app when we launched it, and also our library website. So you can really do them on anything. Yeah, so did you want to I can show you? I can just share my screen. And where are we? Here it is. Is that working? Hope so. That's just what it is. It's pretty simple. It's not really
I can't see it yet.
Can you see it?
No.
Okay.
Have you gone to the centre of the top of the screen? You need to be on Blue Jeans, centre of the top of the screen, and you'll see a screen share, like a little, yep, beautiful. We can see
Is that working? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so this is what it looks like in Canva. It's nothing amazing. It's not going to win any awards, but I just wanted to make it a little bit colourful and a little bit more interesting when I sort of force it on everybody every month. So I'll always add the little logo from the from whatever resource we're doing, whatever website, and yeah. So that's really all I do. Is that enough information for you, Ellen? Is that kind of what you were thinking when you were thinking it sounded interesting? Is there anything else?
I still think it sounds very interesting, and there's some very positive feedback going through the chat.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
And this question: how many staff participate generally? Sort of what percentage of staff?
So everybody would start. I'll just stop sharing. So it goes out to all the branches, which is one of the reasons why I decided to go with an email way of doing it, because I knew that I could get it out to all the branches and then to all of the staff. So I think casuals maybe don't really have to do it. I think that's more of a if their supervisor at that branch asks them to do it, they will. But generally all the permanent staff and all the branch staff, part-timers. So yeah, it goes out to everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about
Question about someone would like to get copies of past examples. So would you be able to do maybe some screenshots and share them, and then I can send them out and then add them to the wiki when the wiki's back in action?
Yeah, sure. I can send them as a PDF or a PNG.
Okay.
I can download them from Canva. So
PDF
yeah.
would be great.
Cool, I can do that. And
question
yeah.
around, do you give staff feedback on their results?
Yeah, I do. So usually everything goes pretty well, and everybody will get things right, because the staff kind of discuss it with each other as well. Like it's kind of nice, you know, you can hear them. What did you get for number 2? What do you reckon? So generally they get it right. At the end of the month, or when I send out the next dig, I will do a little write-up about the last months, and if there's any issues or any problems, let people know that happened there. But generally I don't write back and say a detailed response. Most staff are really good. And there was a time when they were getting a bit competitive about who could get it back to me the fastest. So there'd be these it would be a race to get the fastest one in, which was pretty funny as well. So I think the staff enjoy it. I think it's I don't think I've ruined their work day really when I send it out. Yeah. And my stats did go up as well. I had a look at my stats yesterday to see if I actually made a difference. I hadn't really done it, but looking at the monthly usage for the ones that I've done digs on from 2018 to 2019, they've gone up by almost 50%. So I think it helped. Like, I did a lot of promotion as well, but I like to think that the staff feel more comfortable, and therefore, you know, they're going to help promote it that way.
That sounds great, Kelly. Any further questions for Kelly? Any comments?
Yeah, it's on Canva. Yeah, I'm just looking through. It's on Canva. You can get a free account for Canva. We've been using it for a while. It's great. We do a lot of our flyers and promotional sort of stuff in Canva. And I think we now subscribe to a paid version. So you get a bunch of, you know, great graphics and more features that you can get through Canva as well. We love it. We use it a lot. Yeah, it's the best thing actually. And you can also create graphics for your website and for social on it, and you can choose your pixel sizes. So our website has quite a long, narrow banner across the top, and getting images to fit that was really difficult. But with Canva, you can just choose your pixel size, and you can just go in and make what you want. It saves it all. You can put it into folders. It's great. Is it compulsory? Yes, it is compulsory. Yeah, but that comes from my manager. That comes from a manager, because, you know, part of my job is to do staff training. So yeah, it is compulsory, and that's why I said I do keep the spreadsheet, and she does check in occasionally and just ask me who's. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks.
That was great. Thank you so much, Kelly. Really, yeah, amazing to hear about it, and impressive that it changed your statistics. So it really does change the staff behaviours.
Yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, and yeah, I'm happy to share. I'll put my email in the comments as well. And I'm happy to share them. Happy to help anyone that has any questions. It's no trouble at all. Thank you for asking me to speak.
Thank you for agreeing. Next up, we have Louise from Georges River, and I came across what Louise was doing in one of the reference and information services drop-ins on Wednesday afternoon.
Hi, Ellen. Thank you.
Over to Louise now.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So Ellen asked me to talk about what we've been doing online on Facebook in terms of helping the community access and interpret information from reliable sources during the COVID-19 crisis. So I'll just share my... Is that working? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see the PowerPoint now. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So everyone obviously can probably remember when all of this started for them. As a little anecdote for me, I was blissfully on my honeymoon and arriving back in Australia on the 28th of February. And our last destination had been Venice. And of course, we arrived in Venice the day that the Milan outbreak happened. So that was a little bit of drama, making sure that we were coming home properly and all of that sort of stuff. And so that was on the 28th of February. And by the 25th of March, I was putting up a Facebook post saying that our library was going to be closed until further notice. So in less than a month, and I'm sure all of you can remember how fast all of those changes were happening, in less than a month, everything was changing very, very rapidly. And we started doing some of these Facebook posts to sort of inform our community about what was going on, but also trying to help them access information where we could. So I started doing these Dig Deeper social media posts, which is something that we've done before, but sort of more with a COVID-19 outlook. So we started with very basic, when the state and federal health advice started to come out, we thought we would try and give people some information about what was going on. These new terms like social distancing had started coming up. And, you know, a month ago, these were unusual terms that people didn't really know what was going on or why we were doing it. So we started doing these social media posts. And our priority was sort of to give clear information, give relatable examples, and we were trying to use infographics where possible, primarily due to our very diverse community that we work with within Georges River Library, and also just to help with the clarity of it. And all of these posts that we put up were always linked back to reliable sources, and just helping people in how they can gather their information. So the first one was obviously on social distancing and what we were doing, what it was, and then how we were implementing it into the library. So unfortunately, the next one was about scams, because as soon as the crisis happened, scams started to come up and pop up, and we saw that coming up through the Scam Watch website, that they were identifying this as an issue. So we decided to do some posts about what kind of things to look out for, how people can sort of filter where they're getting their information sources from during this crisis, and maybe think a bit critically about the information that they're starting to see online. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of fake, misleading information, and some of it is just some ignorance, and some of it unfortunately is malicious and with other motives behind it. So we were trying to sort of highlight the importance of looking closely at the sources you would use and how to keep informed, and a general reminder that all of our community can always use about how to stay safe online, and just some simple tips on how to protect yourself. And again, this was backed up with reliable sources. So this was when this post went up, we linked to the Scam Watch website, and told people how they could register to receive those Scam Watch emails as well. So the last thing that we were looking at was infographics. So I mentioned that we have the Georges River community is very culturally and linguistically diverse. So infographics was one of the ways that we could provide clear, simple, easy to understand information. And so we started, obviously, as the changes were happening in the library, we started to provide information about what we were doing to help protect our community, but also the standards that we expected from our community so that we could help protect everyone else as well as our staff. So the infographics, it sort of demonstrated our community expectations. And obviously there were rapidly changing health guidelines that were coming down every day sometimes, and it was impossible for us to translate every single change into all of our community languages. So obviously we had some basic information like hand washing and that sort of thing, that they were translated into our relevant community languages, but all of our general guidelines, some of them were changing so quickly that infographics really helped in communicating to the community what was expected of them, and then what the library was doing as well to protect them. So the last thing I want to mention is that it's not over yet. Obviously, we're still getting a lot of information from New South Wales Health, from the government, from the state government, from the federal government, and unfortunately, a lot of the time that information is really conflicting. So this is one that I'm working on for the announcement that's been made, that the changes that will come into effect in New South Wales on Friday. So there's a few changes that are happening there. And I think it's just, obviously everyone that's here listening, that we all know as information professionals that it's part of our job. Our job continues in helping people access this information, even though our library doors are closed. It doesn't matter that our libraries are closed, we just have to find another avenue to help them find this information. So I think that with constant changes in messaging, it's really important. People look to the libraries as an information sort of avenue, and it's really important that we help them navigate the information that's out there and help, especially as there's so much conflicting information, and it'll only get worse as the restrictions start easing. And yeah, so just keep communicating. Obviously, we're hoping that in the semi-near future we might start reopening our libraries, but I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone else is doing to communicate their changes and their new guidelines and new normal to their customers as well. So if there's any questions, just feel free to let me know or ask in the chat. And I will stop sharing. So I'm using Canva, exactly the same as Kelly. So we started out with the free version as well, but we've now moved to the paid version. And basically anything, especially for infographics, anything that you want an infographic, like a picture for, Canva will have. So on the last slide, there was an infographic for a funeral, and nowhere else I don't think you would find a free version of little stick people in front of a coffin. But when you need it, it's there. So yeah, all hail Canva. Did anyone else have any questions? I can actually share the templates if anyone else is using Canva. I think you can share the link, and then they can have that template in their version of Canva as well, so that you can access it and move it around however you like. So you can change it to suit your library.
It looks like there are a few other libraries with Canva who would be keen to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful to see, and it's good to see how you're positioning the library at this time as an accurate source of information, which really to me seems to be reflecting some of the things Mimosa and Oriana were saying earlier as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So thanks very much. Now, the next session is when I put people into breakout rooms, and because there's about 64 people, I'm going to do 5 groups. So I've actually got more than 5 facilitators, so I might double up the facilitators. And I'd like to say a big thanks in advance to Oriana, Andrea, Ross, Kate, Michelle Head and Catherine for agreeing or volunteering to assist in these small groups. These have only been possible recently for Blue Jeans, so I'm just going to, oh, numbers, we've lost 10 people already. Obviously, that was a really frightening concept, the small group discussions. So we'll be in small group discussions for about 20 minutes, which gives you an opportunity to have a chat, and then we'll be talking about professional resources. I think we're now down to 4 groups. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves, and I'm just going to, okay, breakout room. Just got to make sure I've got one of the facilitators in the room first. So please chat amongst yourselves. This is just going to take me a little bit of clicking and obviously the breakout sessions are of concern with 30 people leaving. I'm going to start that breakout session. Okay. Ooh. Now this actually looks, sorry, I think I've messed up the breakout session.
No, I'm here in the breakout session.
That's good, but I've still got to split up the numbers a bit more, Oriana. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's an experiment, so.
It is.
Oh, we found Ross.
Do another breakout session. Edit. Okay, so breakout room 1 should be fine. Oh, I really would just like to do this randomly. Breakout room 2. Okay. Okay, so that looks like that there's a breakout room 1. Not that this is at all stressful or nerve-wracking. So I should have, I should have people in 3 breakout rooms. But I can't find a moderator for this one. Why can't I find a moderator?
It looks like Oriana, Ross, and Michelle are in the same room, Ellen, if that helps.
And I can see Ori and Ross and Michelle as well. So
okay,
it's Kate. So maybe that's one room. And I could see Catherine, but she's gone.
Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't watch it
Hello.
close enough.
Oh, Catherine's back. So maybe
I can't see
Oh,
Kate though.
Okay. And my unassigned,
thing.
I'm just going to assign randomly.
You got your video on, Kate?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that should have. According to this, it looks like, I'll go back to apps, but it looks like I've set up the breakout rooms, but it doesn't feel like I've set up the breakout rooms. There's one with 12, one with 14, one with 16, and one with 4. I think we're the one with 4. No, no, I've got one that's got Julie Gregory. Okay, move participant to room. So I'm going to move to breakout room 1. I'm going to move Michelle to breakout room 2. 3. Now, this is not feeling any better. I'm still getting all the moderators in the one room. And I deliberately didn't put you all in the one room. Okay, so I'm going to work out which room I'm in, because I can't actually see myself.
I can see one black screen down the bottom. I wonder if that's you, Ellen.
Oh.
I don't know.
But
can still
I'm
see
trying
Michelle,
to put you
Ross,
each into
Ori,
separate
and
rooms,
Catherine.
and that's not where I'm not seeing you. I'm not seeing you in the lists. That's where I'm not seeing to move people around.
So Catherine and I might be logged in as PLS1 as well, so that could be confusing matters.
Yeah, I get that.
Sorry, I can be quiet. I'm trying to help. I'll be quiet.
I appreciate that. This is, like I always love learning in public, contrary to things I actually don't. So I'm going to go back to the breakout rooms where, okay, breakout room now 4 has no one. So I'm going to move one of the PLS ones, breakout room 1, and no one's moved. Oh, Kate has moved. Is that correct? Kate is not in this room anymore?
I can't see her, but I'm freezing a little bit, so maybe I have moved.
Oh, you see, I thought, according to this, I've moved Kate, and Andrea should be in breakout room 2 and not the rest of us.
Do we need to do anything at our end?
No, because I'm actually going to end the breakout session early because it's not working. And then I'm going to then I'm going to do a random assignment because honestly, it can't be worse than what I've just been doing.
But it's fun.
Hello everyone again. The breakout sessions didn't work. I'm going to try random assignment. And basically, because everyone won't know the questions, you've got to ask each other your name, your library, and your location. Discuss some of the sessions today, ideas you're going to take back, and if I'm really lucky, you'll get a facilitator in the group as well. So I've got one room and now I'm moving people to breakout room 2. At this rate, this is going to be entertaining everyone all afternoon. My apologies for this. I did practice, but not with this number of people. And I'm going to try and get a couple of the ones that are PLS 1s to other rooms. Okay, so hopefully both PLS 1s have gone, will go to another room. And I mean that nicely. At this rate, I'm aiming for 2 rooms because otherwise this is really going to be, just going to say I'm never doing this again.
I noticed there's an app for iPad that's Breakout Blue Jeans.
Right. Well, I tried the random allocation, and the random allocation just put everyone in the same room.
Yeah,
So
that's
now
cool.
I'm going to try, I think I've got people split up. I'm now going to try breakout session, and hopefully there'll be about half of the people in each group.
Hello. Hello. This is Ross from the State Library. Looks like there's 3 people in this breakout group. We've been having some difficulty with it, but everyone's audio is muted, and I don't have administrator privileges to unmute you. So I'm not quite sure if you're hearing this, or are you... Well, I'll look at the chat. Okay, John, yes, I can. Oh. Okay, can people hear me? Okay, so John can hear me. I don't know if anyone else can. You can either unmute your audio or use the chat. So the chat is on my BlueJeans application. If I move my mouse to the right, that's where my options come up. On other instances, if you move your mouse arrow up to the top. Okay. Yes, unfortunately we're having technical difficulties. Okay, if you can hear, if there's anyone else other than John that can hear, if they could just indicate via text. Okay, Sonia and John. So we have. Okay, I think that's it then. Okay, well, I look. My name's Ross Belharry, State Library New South Wales, work for NSWNet. So volunteered to help facilitate this. So we've had a few technical issues, but I'm just wondering, how you've enjoyed the day. Is there any, one particular message from today that you'll take away, or one idea that you think was, really interesting? You'd like to experiment with that at your library? Yeah, so John's referred to the online chat tool, Talk2. Personally, I think that's fantastic. A few years ago, I was more direct than email, back and forth. Yeah, likewise. So John says it's more direct than email, back and forth, which can be stilted at times. I think there's also the capacity too, where you can actually put in pre-configured answers. So for some of these solutions, so okay, I can hear someone. Hello, Sue. Yeah, so you can put pre-configured answers in, and if they type in a question that matches the FAQ, it will then bring that up, like opening hours and stuff like that. So it can be quite intuitive, and I know that universities, actually, there was a study at a conference probably about 8 years ago, and they were experimenting with online chat, and they found that the younger generations actually felt quite awkward with face-to-face interactions and going over to the big edifice that was the reference desk. So they introduced, this was at Western Sydney Uni, they introduced online chat reference services, and what they noted is that they might have a student that's just sitting 10 meters away on a PC that would actually send their query through to the reference desk. They found that less confrontational, which was quite interesting. Yeah, so John's indicated he's interested to see how it could be used as a knowledge base, creating those pre-populated answers. It would be interesting to explore, talk to, and see what functions you get with the free version, and if that paid option actually has some of the additional functionality, such as the knowledge base, or if it's actually, I wouldn't imagine it's people at the end. G'day, Sue. Oh, we've got 5 in the group now. I think it looks like if you'd like to talk, I think you actually have to turn your audio on.
Are we on video and on audio for this group or closed?
Video. You can have video and audio on.
Cool.
I think
we couldn't this morning. That was why I queried it.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't attend the morning sessions, so we can have a mixed model where people can send through their questions via chat, which is what John's doing, or just talk directly. So how have things been with you, Sue? How's COVID? It looks like you're at work.
I am at work, and the reason I'm just coming in is because I've had a meeting with WHS about what we need to do in order to open the doors at the point when the government says we can open the doors. Yes,
there's been a big debate going back and forth around managers' lists, etc. in regards to that.
I had submitted a plan, kind of based on the stuff that we've been discussing in the managers list and looking at things and had it all going, but now they've decided that the WHS guy has to do a plan, and it's interesting because he kind of doesn't know what we do. I think this was his first visit to the library.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, it's I think, yeah, if you don't work in a library, it might be a bit of an eye-opener to understand.
He kept coming up with solutions for me.
Right, okay. Not a good fit.
Well, he's willing. Yeah. Just trying to say that's not exactly how we operate.
Yeah. How have you enjoyed the day? Have you been listening throughout the day, or?
I've heard this morning, and then I've just heard patches while I've been doing this WHS thing in the last period.
Okay. Yep. Any takeaways from what the opportunity that you had in the morning to?
Yeah, actually, I really like the idea of the civic conversation happening. That I can't remember the name this morning. She was talking about the idea of using the library and using this period where we're exploring other spaces to actually give people a place to engage in that conversation.
Okay, right, yeah. I missed that one myself. I only dialed into the afternoon sessions. Oh, that sounded interesting. And in terms of, so was she talking about online place, physical place, a combination of the two?
Predominantly. They've been doing some things where they've made their spaces available to be like for conversations where people can come in and just discuss things and meet each other. And now they're looking at doing it as an online thing. And she sort of at one point, and I looking forward to getting the transcript. She was talking about them. They would take things to their village green sort of thing and make it be able to do an online version of that.
All right, okay.
Like, seriously, if you were running a public facility in the era of Trump, you want to find a place where people can speak rationally.
Yes, definitely. I guess it was interesting. Now, who was it? Louise from Georges River, talking about the role that the library undertook to actually on their website to aggregate all that information, authoritative information about social distancing, etc., and to place that on their website. And then as the environment changed and scams became an issue, then once again they did that role of aggregating factual information for their community and trying to disseminate that. So I guess that's a trend now over the last 5 years with this this new concept of fake news, which in essence is an attack on science and it's an attack on journalism, etc. But the end result is it's created a lot of confusion in our community for what is factual and what isn't factual, and Facebook too as a platform for disseminating disinformation. So I guess it's added a whole new dynamic to the role of libraries within communities.
Well, our library has gone backwards with that because council decided that they wanted to be the media platform themselves. The library had been council's only platform, and we were subsumed into them to get their coverage, and now everything we put out has to go out through them. So it has really limited the type of engagement we can do, because our only engagement is through council's Facebook page and council's Insta. So although we stay active on those things, we no longer have the conversation going with our community that we used to have, because while that was suitable for the library page, it's not suitable for council's corporate page.
Yes.
They maintain it is, but it's not.
I went through a similar experience when I was working in public libraries, and at the time we were an innovator in engagement on social media platforms, and we actually helped instruct the wider council in the use of that technology, and then our access to it was taken away. So
when
we had
they
to
did
that
all
channel,
of when we had disasters here, floods, the library was the disseminator of information for the whole council. We were early adopters. We were early adopters across the state as far as like a small rural library. Had a very active thing, and council made the decision that they were going to go into that market and it was going to be one voice. So gone.
Okay. Looks like we've got quite a few participants now. It's showing as 9. I'm not quite... So I assume everyone can hear. So just having a discussion there with Sue in regards to, I guess, this new paradigm of disinformation that we're in the role of libraries. And we heard from Georges River, what they were doing with COVID-19. Is anyone else operating in that space, trying to aggregate information for their community on, the current environment that we're in, or even prior to that? Have you been undertaking that role? You might, to converse, you'll have to either unmute your microphone, which you should be able to do in Blue Jeans, or perhaps just type into chat. If we get anything coming through. We were quite excited about these breakout rooms on Blue Jeans, but we've obviously need to do a little bit more learning through trial and error to
Does the grid work in breakout rooms? Like the grid of people so you see faces?
It should.
Because I haven't got that option here, which I normally have.
Okay, this is the first time I've used the technology, and I think Alan has, obviously experimented, and on a smaller scale we had no issues, but it seems to be a little bit problematic now in the context of a seminar. So we need to work out what went wrong and try and improve things. So we've got one response here. So this is from Lim, City of Canada Bay. We just refer to State of New South Wales URLs through social media. Yep, that's a good way to convey accurate information. So everyone here, I assume, would have a social media presence and channel that they use for marketing and also for disseminating, third-party authoritative links. Okay, Canada Bay has a marketing person. It's a very useful resource. It's whilst it sounds like an easy endeavor, effective marketing can be quite complex, and it's certainly evolving too as social media channels gain popularity, disappear, people move on to new platforms, etc. Okay, so Gillian said we've mainly been using our library Facebook account for communication. Fantastic. Okay, John from Randwick has indicated they use Facebook. All the staff can contribute, pending approval. Okay, and they've been doing kids programming for live streaming events. So I know a lot of libraries started experimenting with that during COVID-19, the importance of storytime sessions. So I assume that's what John's talking about. Hey, Andrew, their Facebook site to promote and update news. We've been promoting our online resources. Okay, well perhaps we could, like in regards to online resources, where do we go? So the second discussion in regards to providing training to staff in the use of, I guess, reference tools. I think it was specifically online tools. So that was a really interesting approach, using the emails and getting staff to actually think about the scope of the resource and where it will be applicable, and generating those conversations amongst staff members. What other methods have libraries been, employing to get people aware of the particular resources that they have? I know when I was at Manly years ago, I had a adopted database scheme, so we had a smaller probably collection of resources than what public libraries would have now. This was 11 years ago, but we would allocate a particular resource to someone and they would become the champion of that resource. So it was their responsibility to gain a thorough awareness of the particular resource, and then we would have monthly meetings and they would have the opportunity to talk people through it, and then they became the authoritative person too if someone was having an issue with that particular resource. They had a marketing role too with regards to that particular online product. How are other people, or what other methods do people have for reference staff, product education and promotion? RefX sessions, fantastic. That's a fantastic resource on the Wikipedia. I guess people would also rely upon the vendor to provide, a lot of vendors do provide webinars with regards to the product, the user interface. The light's just been out here. What are people's thoughts on vendor webinars? Do you find that a good source? Training? Okay, so John's indicated, John at Randwick, that they've been creating training pages on SharePoint for people to use for training. There's a guide to get started, some exercises and a quiz. A quick 15-minute video. And then a webinar for people to participate in. So John, is that a compulsory undertaking? Is that part of, say, performance development? Yes? Okay. Okay, anyone else have any thoughts in regards to staff awareness for reference resources? What's working, what's not? Oh, I think.
Oh, she's pulled us back in.
Yes.
We were mid-conversation.
Now, I'm just going to stop the recording, or did you want to keep recording? Because we stopped recording in my room. So do you want, I just realized I clicked on it, so I'm going to have to, yeah. So I'm going to stop recording if that's okay. Actually, I'm going to stop recording anyway.